Well, guys, we got her done, and I'm really pleased with the way it turned out. This vise was a little bit of a challenge. It had a few challenges, so let's just kind of go through what we've done. If you recall, this cast piece back here that comes out, that was broken, and so we had to do some brazing on that. I did a TIG brazing, so that's only the second time I've done TIG brazing, and I thought it turned out really, really well. So I'm real pleased with that repair. I didn't want to spend a bunch of money. I could have bought this. I think I could still buy this, this cast piece back here from Wilton, and certainly you can buy jaws, but I really didn't want to spend a bunch of money. I paid $25 for this vise, and I really didn't want to spend a bunch of money on it. I know that sounds kind of cheap, but I have a lot of vices in the shop, and so I try to minimize how much I spend on these different vices, particularly when I get a good deal on one. I want to keep it a good deal by not spending a whole bunch of money on a bunch of new stuff. So I could have got new jaws, I could have got new little tightening spindles here, but I didn't want to do any of that. I wanted to just repair and improve what I had. So I did make these jaws. These jaws are copper, and the plates that I had weren't thick enough. And so what I did is I welded two plates. So each jaw is welded together. So that worked out really well. I used my TIG torch on that as well. And I've welded copper before, but only a handful of times. And it welds really nice. You gotta be careful because it really holds the heat as you get, similar to aluminum in that regard. It holds the heat and it welds much smoother and easier as the piece gets hotter and hotter. But they turned out super, super good. I'll bring you guys in on a close-up, and I'll just kind of let you run around. Now, listen, don't pick it apart too badly, okay? This vise was never meant to be a trailer queen. It was never meant to shine and sparkle and, you know, glow on a shelf. It's meant to work. And so when I sanded and filed on the little anvil back here, I didn't get crazy. There's a little bit of pitting still in the middle. I didn't worry about that. You can still clearly see my welds on the top of these jaws, and that's okay. I've got a leathersmith that makes my knife sheaths, and I'm gonna probably present it to him and see if it's something that he wants to do a swap on. So we'll see. I blued the handle, I blued the anvil, I blued these little tightening nuts down here. And I'm really pleased with that. I didn't get carried away on all of this. Blued the little C-clip back here. I did change out all of the screws. So all the screws on this are, they're all stainless steel. So I think that's an improvement because I don't have to worry so much about the rust. Now, one thing I will say about these screws on the front plate here, the little C-clip, the gap between this spindle and these screws, the screw heads, is not very much. And so I neglected to show you guys, but I did have to sand those down a little bit. So basically I put them on the belt grinder and I just, you know, took the diameter of those heads down just a little bit, just so that it would clear and not rub, that's all. It wasn't rubbing hugely, but it was enough to bother me, and I certainly wouldn't want it like that. So no more effort than it took. You know, obviously we did that. And then on the spindle, on the screw, the lead screw here, you saw me put a little bit of grease. I also put a little bit of gear oil on that. So it's a little bit of a mixture, because if it's just solid grease, it's not wet enough and it doesn't spin quite as easy, and it gets thick after some time. So putting that gear oil in there kind of takes a little bit of the thickness from it and just makes it function a little bit better. I still have not purchased this little cap on the end, and I'm probably gonna do that. I think they're like about $6 on eBay, so I will do that, and then I'll shoot that with a little bit of that hammered paint. So now, I'll take you in and I'll just let you look at it. So I'll bring you in and get you some close-up views of the vise, and I'll put these jaws apart just so you can see the surface of the vise as well.